Rahim. Honorable Dr. Musaddiq Malik, Minister of State, Petroleum, Honorable Chief Army Staff, General Asim Munir, and our brother from Saudi Arabia, Engineer Khalid bin Saleh Al Mudaffir, Vice Minister of Industries, Secretary Petroleum, Captain Mahmood, and Dr. Mark Bistro, and our brother from Azerbaijan, Kamal Abbas, Deputy Minister, Excellencies, Honorable Federal Ministers, Chief Ministers, and very eminent investors, not only from Pakistan, but from our friendly countries and brotherly countries, eminent journalists, young entrepreneurs, business houses, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good late morning. I think today is a great day for me and obviously for all of us. Here is a galaxy of people belonging to various walks of life, and you can tell from their faces that they have been deeply involved and absorbed throughout the proceedings of today. I will not go into repetition. A brilliant presentation was made by Dr. Musaddiq Malik, and a very wonderful speech by our brother from Saudi Arabia. Captain Mahmood made his points very well, and Mr. Mark Bistro spoke in a very frank manner and a very heartwarming and heart-touching speech from the Chief Army Staff. So I will just stick to a few points because there's hardly anything more I can add on to their brilliance and extremely well articulated points. As it has been said that this has been a journey of 75 years, it has been mentioned that we have with us deposits worth $6 trillion. $6 trillion. Imagine $6 trillion, and yet where we stand today. I will just make a few points to explain my point of view. For example, Pakistan Steel Mills was established back in 70s with Russian support, and its entire raw material was always imported. There was, and there is, and there shall always be Kalabagh iron ore, which was probably touched and then forgotten. And there is no question about it that whatever iron content this Kalabag iron ore had. Today's technology and today's expertise could have and can easily convert into a raw material for steel plants in the shape of pellets or in other forms. Recordec, another case in point. Without going into details, there was a penalty of $10 billion imposed on Pakistan. And God forbid, had this been imposed upon us and had we been forced to execute it, we would have lost our entire foreign exchange and yet not have been able to meet this challenge. Look at Tharkol, the largest or one of the largest coal deposits around the globe. Alhamdulillah, today one can say with a sense of pride and achievement that this has been now converted into wealth for Pakistan. But where were we as a nation for the last 75 years? Were we beholden to certain cartels or not able to explore this huge wealth of Pakistan for the well-being of the people of Pakistan for certain pressures, political reasons, or what? Is a question to be looked into deeply. Look at Cheniot iron ore, another deposit which belongs to the poor people of Pakistan and was subjected to worst kind of pilferage and corruption and corrupt practices. I will not mention names here because that is not the intent and purpose of this meeting. Because today is the day to learn our lesson from the past and now move forward in unison. But let me say a couple of things about Cheniot iron ore. It was the project, the entire project was handed over on a platter to a Pakistani residing in overseas, relative to one of those very influential people at that point in time, had no credentials, had no business history, and there was no bidding. It was simply handed over to him. And then what happened was that there was government changed, the matter was taken, the contract was rescinded, the matter went to the court of law. It took years. And finally the court of law decided that this was nothing but loot and plunder of the resource of the poor people of Pakistan. And then the matter went to Supreme Court, and that gentleman withdrew his application or petition or appeal, and nothing happened. NAB was nabbing only those who were opposed to the government of the day, and not those who had looted and plundered the scarce wealth of the people of Pakistan. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the story, heart-wrenching story of our journey of 75 years. You cannot blame anybody else except our own self. those governments, those who are given the responsibility of serving the cause of the people of Pakistan. So this is how we have wasted time, resources and energies which should have been dedicated for the well-being and prosperity of the people of Pakistan. Today is a day, I would say, that these wonderful speeches, presentations, now have to be converted into action. Because certainly in the past, many such events were organized, speeches were made, papers were read, presentation made, and when it came to the question of implementation, it was what I told you a minute ago, how a record was derailed, Tharkol, and so on and so forth. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, believe me, and this I'm saying without any fear of contradiction, that if we decide today that what we have seen in this presentation, what has been spoken about, if this can be converted in letter and spirit, then I'm telling you, this nation will find its lost place by the grace of God in the next few years, through hard work and through untiring efforts. And that is why I want to come to the point now. But before that, I would like to thank my brother, Minister from Saudi Arabia, for his heartwarming comments about our friendship, our brotherhood, our fraternity, which is absolutely beyond any ray of doubt. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan are two brotherly countries and have always stood by each other through thick and thin and supported the cause of both the countries at every forum and at every moment. The most recent example is your support to Pakistan to achieve IMF program. You contributed $2 billion to meet the gap, which was so vital for Pakistan's survival. And my brother, on behalf of the people of Pakistan and my government, I'd like to thank you and convey my sincere gratitude to my brother, His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, for his wonderful cooperation at this hour of need. Thank you very much. This mechanism, I know we have in front of me, I can see their faces, very eminent journalists who have no fears to take things in its real perspective, have a very genuine, serious introspection, investigation, critical comments. They would ask this question, that why this SIFC? This is something unheard of. This is something we didn't know in the past. Well, the journey I've just explained to you, spanning over the last 75 years, has landed Pakistan into this situation where we want to get rid of our begging bowl and yet we can't. Where we want to really become honorable and respected, yet we need to work hard for that. And if we follow that route, which is hackneyed, which is tired, which has been tried over and over again, I think the results won't be different. And I'm one of those who believe in reality. I don't live in cuckoo's land or a fairy land. We must understand our ground reality. Look at what NAB has done to this entire system. If you talk about business community, they are dead scared because they have seen this in the past preceding years, how NAB nabbed them just because they invested in Pakistan. They created job opportunities and wealth for this country. How NAB treated bureaucrats, those who really contributed meaningfully and were of this view that if they come out with solutions, out-of-box solutions, which will not violate the law of the land, this country will move speedily. Look what happened to them, to their families, to their school-going kids, children. And let's not talk about politicians because they are used to this, not only during NAB era, but from decades. So I think there is a need for a serious surgical operation if we really want to have this wealth generated and make Pakistan a country which was destined to make its mark, which was carved out of India through great sacrifices of our elders, founders of this country, to get rid of slavery and clutches of Indian hegemony and move forward and walk in the society as a nation respected by all and sundry through hard work, through sacrifice, through untiring efforts, and through valuable contribution, empowering our youth by providing them all available opportunities, creating wealth through innovative agriculture, information technology, exports, textile, and whatnot. But all these beautiful dreams remain unfulfilled for the reason I've just mentioned about. I will be completing my term next month, around middle of next month. Sorry, this month. Thank you very much. I was very busy for the last 48 hours. Our Chinese guests had come, so I was little confused. Thank you very much. But then we are entering into the second phase of CPAC, and that's a great achievement by the grace of God. We want to work with Americans. The American ambassadors sitting here. We really want to have best of relations with them. We used to have in the past on the basis of mutual respect and trust, and not trying to deceive each other and trying to use available opportunities for the good of both the countries and the people, and similarly with other nations in the world. We have nothing against anybody. We have to look after our own self, build our nation. Even with our neighbor, we are prepared to talk to them, provided that the neighbor is serious to talk serious matters on the table. Because war is no more an option. Pakistan, alhamdulillah, is a nuclear power, not as an aggressor, but for our defense purposes. And we had 3 wars fought in the last 75 years. And what happened? I'm being very honest with you. It generated more poverty, unemployment, and lack of resources to finance education, health, and well-being of the people. So is this the way that we have to adopt? Or to have war of economic competition? Because God forbid, if there's any nuclear flashpoint, who will live to tell what happened? So that is not an option. But it is equally important that our neighbor has to understand that we cannot become normal neighbors unless abnormalities are removed, unless our serious issues are understood and addressed to through peaceful and meaningful discussions. I'm sorry for this digression. Coming back to the point, today is the day, ladies and gentlemen, we have to make a vow and a serious commitment to our Creator that Pakistan ایک بہت بڑی نعمت اللہ تعالیٰ نے ہمیں عطا کی اور 75 سال ہم نے پاکستان کے ساتھ ظلم کیا ہے، پاکستان کے غریب عوام کے ساتھ زیادتی کی ہے، ان کا حق ان کو ادا نہیں کیا. آج یہ موقع ہے کہ آج ہم یہاں پر پورے پاکستان کی ایلیٹ بیٹھی ہے، یہاں پہ پاکستان کے یہاں پہ سرمایہ کار بیٹھے ہیں، بڑے بڑے اذان بیٹھے ہیں، سیاستدان بیٹھے ہیں، فوجی بیٹھے ہیں، ڈپلومیٹس بیٹھے ہیں، اور اس فیلڈ سے متعلقہ لوگ وہ موجود ہیں. میں جو بات کر رہا تھا کہ اس ماہ ہم نے اپنی ٹرم پوری کر کے اپنے گھر جانا ہے اور ایک انٹرم گورنمنٹ آنی ہے. اس کے بعد جب الیکشن ہوں گے تو ایک نئی حکومت آئے گی. میں آج اگر آپ کے سامنے یہ باتیں جو کر رہا ہوں یہ کوئی نئی باتیں نہیں کر رہا. میں نے ماضی میں بھی ہمیشہ انہی الفاظ میں، ٹوٹے پھوٹے الفاظ میں اپنی داستان، اپنی جو معروضات آپ کے سامنے رکھی. آج بدقسمتی سے معاشرہ تقسیم ہو چکا ہے. آج بدقسمتی سے معاشرے میں زہر گھول دیا گیا ہے. اس کی وجوہات ہم سب کو علم ہے، اس میں مجھے اس وقت نہیں جانا. لیکن کیا یہی وتیرہ، یہی طریقہ ہے کہ ہم آج یہ جو پریزنٹیشنز یہاں پر پیش ہوئی ہیں اور یہ جو یہاں پر ایک نقشہ آپ کے سامنے بتایا گیا، کیا اس تقسیم اور اس حال میں ہم اس پر عمل پیرا ہوں گے اور اس سے نتائج حاصل کریں گے؟ نہیں. جب تک کہ یکجہتی اور ایک اتفاق، اتحاد ہم اس کا فیصلہ نہ کر لیں، میں سمجھتا ہوں کہ ہم اپنی کاوشوں میں کامیاب نہیں ہو سکتے. اور اس کے لیے یہی جو آج جو ماڈل بنایا گیا ہے SIFC، اس میں پوری حکومت اور حکومتیں شامل ہیں، صوبوں کی ادارے شامل ہیں، تاکہ جہاں سے کسی کو مدد چاہیے وہاں سے مدد حاصل کرے اور ان عظیم منصوبوں کو عملی جامہ پہنائے. اور میں سمجھتا ہوں کہ میں بڑے ادب کے ساتھ اور انکساری کے ساتھ میں عرض کروں گا کہ اگر ہمیں میران کی وادیوں میں، پنجاب کے میدانوں میں، KPK کے پہاڑوں میں اور بلوچستان کے संगलाख पहाड़ों में अपने गरीब आवाम का अगर ज़रा भी दर्द है और ख्याल है, इस मुल्क के अंदर बसने वाले करोड़ों नौजवान बच्चों और बच्चियों को उनका मुस्तकबिल संवारने का अगर हम में जज्बा और दर्द है, और इस मुल्क में लाखों यतीमों और बेवाओं को उनका हक दिलवाने का अगर हम में जज्बा और दर्द है, तो फिर वो रास्ता तलाश करें जिससे कि इंशाअल्लाह हम अपनी मंजिल तक पहुंचेंगे। और वो रास्ता सिर्फ वही है इत्तेहाद का, इत्तेफाक का और बराबर दिन रात मेहनत का। मैं इन अल्फाज के साथ अपनी बात ख़त्म करते हुए इकबाल के इस शेर से अपनी बात ख़त्म करूँगा। माफ़ कीजिए, मैं देख लूँ कोई पॉइंट को रह तो नहीं गया जी, एक पॉइंट रह गया। It's a story of dust to development. But we have seen this story of sand dunes to development in the recent years and recent decades in the Middle East, in Gulf State, in Saudi Arabia, in UAE. Look at what Saudi Arabia has done. They have converted their sand dunes. Of course, they have black gold, no doubt. They have natural gas, no doubt. But we have these trillions of dollars of worth, natural resources, water, great brains sitting in front of us in all walks of life. There is nothing that we don't have, which our brothers have. Of course, in different shapes and colors. So, if sand dunes could be converted into great models of progress and prosperity by our brothers, sitting here and sitting there, in UAE, in Qatar, in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait, why can't we convert our dust into gold? That is the point at issue. So, the answer lies in completely getting rid of red tape, bureaucratic hurdles, delays, lack of decision making. Our State Minister Musaddiq, he's a brilliant person. Believe me, I'm not trying to flatter him. I'm not in this habit. But this is a fact. He's a brilliant person. I always pray that Allah grants him the power to take decisions. He will turn around things, inshallah. So I think we have everything. We lack only in one thing, and that is will to do. If we gather that will, I think sky would be the limit. My concluding शेर इज इकबाल शेर कि फर्द कायम रब्ते मिल्लत से है तन्हा कुछ नहीं, फर्द कायम रब्ते मिल्लत से है तन्हा कुछ नहीं, मौज है दरिया में बैरूने दरिया कुछ नहीं। पाकिस्तान पाइंदाबाद।
पाकिस्तान मिनरल समिट का इफ्तिताही सेशन वज़ीर